Hi, I'm Mark Kester. I'm the G. Thomas Passanati Professor of Pharmacology here at the Penn State College of Medicine. I'm also the Director of the Penn State Center for Nanomedicine and Materials.
Hi, I'm Kelly Karpa. I am a pharmacologist here within the Department of Pharmacology, where I also direct the medical pharmacology instructional program for our medical students.
And I'm Vrana, the Elliott S. Vassell Chair and Professor of Pharmacology here at Penn State.
I think just writing this book is an integrated pharmacology review book. I almost think of it as a complete textbook. It is integrated with other disciplines, physiology, biochemistry, immunology, just to name a few. But it's also organ-based. We treat each group of drugs specifically to treat specific diseases.
So I remember in 2005 when Mark first came to us with the idea of authoring a textbook. And at first I thought it was a silly idea because there's a lot of space that's already occupied. But the idea that he brought to us was really novel. The idea that we're going to focus just on the signal transduction mechanisms to explain how these drugs work. I think that's what really makes this book unique from the compendium books that are out there on the market. Coupled with the fact that we're staying focused on classes of drugs to help the medical student prepare for those key gatekeeper exams. So that started back in 2005, the first edition came out in 2007, and here we are with the second edition because the field has expanded, and I've reveled in the fact that Elsevier has supported us in updating the book in a timely fashion.
So one of the reasons that I got involved with the project was really because the students were not using the recommended textbooks. Instead, they were using review books, and we wanted to be able to capitalize on that and create a review book that really focused on what it was that they needed to know, mechanisms of action, side effects of drugs. And one of the areas that we really saw a gap was in the idea that medications, as we were teaching them and as a lot of other medical schools were also transitioning, was to a more organ-based format. So our text really follows an organ-based format, which is completely different and novel for the other texts that were out there at the time.
Well, the new edition was absolutely necessary because we compiled a list of the new drugs that occurred and been brought to the market. So it's been updated to add more than 100 new drugs. We've retired drugs that have been removed from the market. We're highlighting drugs that have black box warnings that have severe side effects. So we've tried to keep it current and relevant to the clinical setting. And that, I think, is important. It's not just about the structures of compounds and the receptors that they hit, but it's also about how do you use them in the clinical setting.
I think from the first edition to the second edition, probably the biggest change was the addition or expansion of all the biologic agents that have just exploded in the last decade or so. And also, between the editions, we've really enhanced the cancer chapter of the current edition.
A student usually picks up and takes our book at the year 1 or 2 of their med school career. But we want a book that will go with them and grow with them as they go through the 3rd and 4th year and beyond. And what we're teaching is how to deal with drugs that are not formally approved by the FDA, or are still being developed by a corporation and or in some inventor's head. How do you deal with not the 200 new drugs over the last 2 years, but maybe the thousands of drugs that are going to be developed between a student in the 1st and 2nd year and by the time they're on the wards and truly a physician and practitioner.